Lewis Hamilton wins Japanese Grand Prix as Sebastian Vettel retires from race. Hamilton started on pole and had to cut across the track to block off the move of Vettel. However, the spark plug problem that had forced Ferrari to take the engine cover off minutes before the race had clearly not been fixed, and he was forced to retire after just 4 laps. Hamilton drove off into the Suzuka sunset but had 2 moments of really danger. He was briefly threatened by the undercut of Max Verstappen, who drove brilliantly all day, and the Dutchman might have got the overtake done in the last 2 laps had Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa not struggled to get out of the way quickly enough when being lapped. Hamilton had never taken pole at the Japanese Grand Prix until this weekend, but he was exemplary in Saturday's qualifying session. His teammate was second fastest, but a grid penalty allowed Vettel to start second on the clean side of the track in P2. The Ferrari driver got the better start off the line, but Hamilton was able to cover off the move up the inside and drive away from the field. It quickly became clear that the problems Ferrari had sensed on the trip to the grid from the pits were not gone. Vettel was down on power in the straights as first the Red Bulls and then the Force Indias drove straight past him, and the German was told to retire the car after just 4 laps. Hamilton looked as though he would cruise to victory with the superior Mercedes engine on a power-sensitive track. However, the improvements of Red Bull have been marked throughout the second half of the season, and Verstappen, full of confidence after the Malaysian win, passed his teammate to take third on the opening lap. After Vettel retired, he got to work trying to close down Hamilton, and Red Bull went for the undercut. It gained him 2 seconds, but had Mercedes not immediately covered off the move, it would have been more. The danger came again at the end of the race as Mercedes and Red Bull battled for the top 4 slots. Bottas, who had been on a different strategy after starting on the soft tire, came back quickly at Ricciardo in third and closed the 10-second gap right down by the end, although he couldn't get past the Australian, finishing 9/10 behind him. But the fingernail-biting will have been going on across the Mercedes garage as Hamilton radioed in complaining of vibrations in the car, and all of a sudden, the gap, which had been stable at 2.5 seconds, started coming down. Verstappen looked set to have 1 lap of attacking the back of Hamilton, but the idiosyncrasies of Suzuka came back into play. Alonso and Massa were battling for 10th, and the leaders caught them on the penultimate lap. The Spanish McLaren driver allowed Hamilton through but ended up slipping in behind him, swelling the gap to Verstappen, and on the last lap Massa did the same. It left Hamilton slightly winded in the aftermath, again telling the engineers of his concerns about the power unit, but by the time he got to the podium, the enormity of what he had achieved seemed to hit him. "I could never have dreamed of having a 59-point gap," Hamilton said. If he wins his beloved U.S. Grand Prix in Austin in 2 weeks and Vettel finishes outside the top 5, the title will be